What makes a man a man? What makes a woman a woman? My mother went through a double mastectomy as part of her battle against cancer. I remember one of the first things she said after the operation was, "I've got no tits. I'm no longer a woman." I, however, never saw my mother as anything else as a woman. Neither did any of the people she knew, her families, her acquaintances. Basically because nothing in the appearance or the behavior of my mother would suggest that she would identify as anything else but a woman. And here is where I question myself. Regardless of the fact that she had every right to feel whatever she was feeling about losing a part of her body, was she right to attach her womanhood to her mammary glands? Is it correct to say that an individual is less of a woman if they have no visible breasts? Well, I think not. And this video will present an argument about it. Gender is a very complex subject. This video, and in fact the whole series about gender, will not give you all the answers that you need in order to understand the subject. In fact, this should be seen as merely an introduction and an invitation to read the academic and scientific literature about the subject, and stop taking your information from bold podcasters and authors who know nothing about the subject or have never taken any sort of studies in gender. So, in order to bring into the light the true concepts about gender and to have an adult and serious discussion about it, we need first to drop all of the preconceptions that we have about it and try to engage it in a scientific, rigorous, and completely unemotional way. Or said otherwise, if you feel threatened by the science talk and the challenging of your deeply held beliefs, I don't think you're gonna like this video. With that said, what the fuck is gender? First, I think we should start from the history and the definition of the word. Gender has a pretty straightforward etymology. It comes directly into English from Old French, the word gendre, which came also from Latin, from the word genus, which ultimately also comes from the Indo-European root gen, which means to beget or to birth. For example, the word generation, generate, also share that meaning. In Latin and French, this word has always had the meaning of class, kind, classification, species, type. It is not until relatively recently that this word, gender, has morphed into a signifier for biological sex, since that latter word, sex, has taken more of an erotic and taboo meaning, more related to the act of having sex than to the original definition, that is our biological parts. In 1878, for example, it was said that Athena has nothing of sex except the gender, nothing of the woman except the form. showing that at the time the distinction between the two terms was still being observed. In modern French, actually, we still make the difference and we still use the word sex as a signifier for the biological parts that somebody has. But genre has also morphed and taken up more of those behaviorals and appearances, the secondary sexual traits have been dumped into genre. And we want to know why. Because regardless of how we use the term now, history shows us that different cultures have attached to those terms different cultural meanings beyond or in spite of their biological definitions. What I mean to say is that different cultures have different limits to where do we stop talking about sex and where do we start talking about gender. In this series, we will analyze the quote-unquote Western understanding of gender and serving us of the understanding of other cultures and other visions of gender more as a comparison than a deep analysis. This is because, well, I live in the Western world, so I'm more used to it. And I feel I have more material to criticize. So let's start with a controversial statement. Because as plenty of conservatives and TERFs will remind you so kindly, gender and the phenomenon of our understanding of gender is a rather recent phenomenon. What they get absolutely wrong, though, is this notion that we are the first culture or the first people to have an understanding or a notion or a concept of gender, as if our ancestors and the cultures that existed before us did not use the term as a social concept as well. That's a little bit arrogant from you and your people, JK. Rolling to the next one. Like I said a few minutes ago, this whole substitution of meaning is relatively recent. It is not until a few decades ago that the substitution of the social value of the word gender began to be replaced by the biological charge and the biological definition of sex. And in fact, we can actually even point at the time, at the exact time and place where that phenomena started taking root. The truth is that if you're one of them, you're not gonna like to be named here, but it was because of reactionary anti-feminists. Whoa, 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 hold it.
You suck!
Everybody settle down, please. Just let me finish, and then you can boo at the end, okay? Deal? Okay, good boys. Feminists did not invent gender. They were, however, the first ones to recognize the disconnect that exists from our biological reality and the expectation, the social expectation that one should hold according to the body type that you have. For instance, they quickly noticed that female-bodied people, from the very moment of their conceptions, have basically a whole list of social expectations to respect in order to save their value, at least in the eyes of the society. A quick exercise will demonstrate. Even though female-bodied people share 99% of all the anatomical features and functionalities of a male body, they are the only ones who are expected to go through an extraordinary effort to mask that biology, at least compared to male-bodied persons. A male-bodied person with lousy hygiene is seen as irresponsible, immature. It's only when the filth is like really, really stringy that you will call them dirty. But for a female body to be perceived as dirty, You just only have to not shave your legs. You need only to have hairy armpits, and you will see how people will look at you as a dirty, dirty female. All of this in spite of the fact that body hair is 100% natural and present in 100% of all human bodies. But it is only problematic when it's present on a female-bodied person. Feminists from the time began to question all of these things, and not because all of a sudden all females were like, we don't want to shave anymore, but because why are we obliged to do it when men can choose how and when to do it? Why cannot we have the same power? Moreover, some females don't care about it at all. Some females actually like their body hair. So, what the hell? The question is then, why is a hairy woman seen as dirty and disgusting, but a hairy man is not? Again, when 100% of human bodies have naturally body hair. Again, this line of questioning is not meant to tell all women to stop shaving. They can do whatever they want with their bodies, and that's the point. If they want to let their hair grow, they should be able to do it without being afraid of being perceived as dirty, as ugly, or as less than a woman for not following an obligation to shave that they never sign up for. This is why more than gender, which means simply type, kind, what was and still more interesting to explore and to question are gender roles. What things can, should, ought be done by someone with your biological sex, and which shouldn't. Because that is the part that shows us how much of an arbitrary line we use to decide what is male and what is female. I mean, it's almost as if our society had constructed a whole set of rules based only on culture and tradition and not science. How bizarre. This video is being produced in 2022. In our current understanding of gender, in the Western world at least, we have come to the conclusion that assuming that a woman will not be able to succeed intellectually, manually, or in any other way as much or even more than any man, it's kind of an old-fashioned idea to be gentle. In our day and age, assuming that somebody will not be able to do a good job because of their sex, it's seen as a bigoted idea. The key question to make, though, is, was it the same 50 years ago? 40 years ago? How about 20? Try 10 years ago. You see, these social concepts mutate and adapt because people fight for their rights to party, but also to just live and be themselves. Because as any queer person knows, the progress that we have seen in the rights of women and LGBTQ people have not been gifts from the sky. We have fought for them. We have had to fight for each and every single inch of terrain to be free and to be happy and ourselves. And we still do it. So as you can see, social concepts evolve and mutate with time. Because 10 years ago, it wasn't as clear as it is now that misogyny is a load of bullcrap, for example. And this is how we return to our friends, the reactionary anti-feminists. Whoa, 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 whoa! Hey!
You suck!
I ask you to wait until the end and you agree. You naughty Proud Boys. But what I mean to say is that this pushback, that all of this discussion about gender, especially since second wave feminism started, has served more as a stalling process of the discussion and the debate of these issues. And the changes that need to be applied into the global society have sometimes taken a longer time than they should, because these reactionaries have, like I said, stopped the discussion about it. In fact, stalling the debate has historically been one of their best and more tried strategies to not yield their baseless ideological grounds. And let's be clear, this is not me whining and crying about not being able to take up criticism or to respond in a civilized way. No, girl. It's just that I find it hard to debate with somebody whose argument is simply trying to mock me and humiliate me because I'm wearing lipstick. What's funny though is that with the queers, we are basically trained all of our lives in how to clap back, because we grow up in a constant barrage of mockery and bullying. But we are called sassy and bitches when we dare to do the same to a strong cis heterosexual man. We are the fragile ones because we expect discrimination to not be acceptable anywhere. But it's the cis straight man, the ones who feel emasculated when one dares to criticize them. I am a biological cis male. I have never felt as less of a biological cis male for being queer, for wearing makeup, for sucking dick. Emasculating, by the way, means to physically remove the testicles of somebody. And I'm sorry guys, but none of you guys, nobody in the world could ever say to me would make me feel as if my balls were less heavy and filled with munchies. But I'm the fragile one. But anyway, back to the point. The pushback that we have seen since we started discussing these subjects dates from deep within the history of feminism, and it has never been based on science or even philosophy, but only on ridicule, the desire to control, and simple misogyny. You just need to take a quick critical look into the arguments of alpha males, TERFs, gender critics, and pro-lifers, and any sort of anti-LGBTQ organization to notice that what they are arguing about is completely unscientific. It's really not very hard to analyze their intentions. But you know what? I get it. I get it, guys. I mean, I understand. After all, how could a woman come to an intellectually deep and profound insight of knowledge about our society better and faster than any other man could? Okay, you're free to boo now. And see you on the next time.